A-level and GCSE grades estimated by teachers have been generous, and there's inconsistency across schools and colleges. That's what the exams watchdog has said. It means thousands of grades will have been lowered. Qualifications Wales said the process is needed to make sure grades are fair after exams were cancelled due to coronavirus, where our education and family correspondent Bethan Lewis is here. So how are they deciding the grades this year?
Well, Thomas, there are two parts to the process. The first is that schools and colleges were asked to estimate what grades they think their pupils would have had they sat their exams in each subject. They submit that information then to the WJC exam board. That's when the second part of this process kicks in, which is called standardisation, where they take into account lots of bits of information in order to get a consistent picture across Wales. The watchdog Qualifications Wales today has published some information about that first stage, the grades submitted by schools and colleges, and they've compared it to previous years, and they say that basically schools and colleges have been too generous overall, and there's this inconsistency across schools and colleges. For example, when it comes to A-star and A grades estimated by teachers at A level, if you just looked at them, they would be 13% higher this year than last year, and the Qualifications Wales body says that shows you why you need this standardisation process in order to make sure the process is fair and that the results are credible.
But in practice, those grades will have been lowered. Surely controversial.
Well, yes, that's what this means, that those grades, thousands of them will have been lowered. We can see from what happened in Scotland earlier this week, where a similar process happened, that can be hugely controversial. There, tens of thousands of grades were lowered. That led to disappointment, of course, for thousands of pupils and teachers. Particular concern that it hit pupils in more disadvantaged areas harder. So there'll be a close eye on what happens next week. Now, Qualifications Wales says overall, most estimated grades will stay the same in the final grade. There'll be a few that will go up. The others will go down, a very few, at least 2 or more grades. Now, A-level results are out next week, GCSEs the week after, and that's really when we'll get the full picture, when we get those final grades, when pupils and teachers see them and we get the response from them.
OK, Bethan Lewis, thank you very much. Bethan Lewis, they are education correspondent.